lot of people in the community who are willing to help out. But nonetheless, I'm going to shut up and let you take me through this first mid. Go on, Luggnuts, go on.
Thank God. Bonking Up arriving very soon, along with a lot of other players. They haven't really taken too much space on the mid, though. And it looks like right now they're just prodding each other. But Thane is going for a very deep bomb in, and the medic on whatever this team is, Cringe Gambit, is very low, having to re-enter the fight. Well, this team is relatively low on kills, however they have been getting quite a lot of frags.
And in the meantime, with all of that happening, a huge bomb out of Raylan took down Arnold, the medic for the other team. 5-ping Rockets, I believe, losing quite a lot of their gamers. TJ's coming in on the mid, though, while Adolo's taunting. He cleans him up, and he's almost got the other scout, but does go down for his efforts. So the midpoint is going to get capped, getting them a little bit closer towards getting towards the end of the map and winning the round, hey?
Yeah, definitely a really good mid for Cringe Gambit there. Even though the medic did go down pretty early, they did manage to equalize the Ubers, and they're very equal. Now, as long as they keep this building right on top of things, because last time they played, they had a little bit of an Uber disadvantage most times against Tay. But no, right now it looks like they're building very well, which is going to give them an Uber advantage, if not, even Ubers, not a very slight advantage over 5-ping Rockets. Nothing usable, though, and it's going to develop into more or less of a stalemate.
Yeah, and for anyone who isn't like in with the lingo of Team Fortress, Uber is something the med gets roughly every 40 seconds, depending if he's healing right. I'm not going to try to get too deep into the explanation of this, where he can turn his players invulnerable for up to 8 seconds, and both teams can get that, so when there's a difference between the two, one of the teams would have an advantage. Obviously, being invulnerable sort of means you can just walk into stuff and start killing things left, right, and center, so it's a pretty big deal.
Definitely, and of course there are other types of charges in the game. The main other one is the Crits Krieg, which gives all your players triple damage, I believe, and no damage fall off for its duration.
Yeah, it just means you can kill things at distance very quickly. It's definitely something worth seeing. But in the meantime, we do see a soldier for both sides actually sacrificing himself, trying to get in there and cause a ruckus. Feigns in very deep onto the med. He gets the force, and the Uber charge is used. You can see that by the shiny players, but it's in a bad spot because they're not going to be able to do anything with it. So now they're on a full disadvantage, which is the worst spot they can possibly hope to be in.
For sure, and now even though that the 5-ping Rockets does have a player down, which is Fane, they will be able to just wait for him to spawn and leisurely walk into this however they please, given that they have such a massive advantage, and almost nothing can stop them from taking this midpoint, unless we see some very creative plays out of the Cringe Gambit.
Which they are actually attempting. We did see Adolo and Raylan get in behind through the valley area there, but they have both been cleaned up. They did kill Rays, but going down there means that their team is definitely going to have to walk straight on out of this midpoint. They have delayed the time a little bit, so now they're on 70% Uber, which gives them a bit of room to maneuver. Should mean that they shouldn't have to back out of the second point here, and they're not shoved right back where they could lose this round instantly.
Yeah, going to be slightly beneficial for them. However, they do have a few late spawners, which might allow a very quick play-in from 5-ping Rockets, which it does look like they're trying to do, but unfortunately they have lost 2 of their players, which is going to swing an advantage over to the Cringe Gambit if they move before those players have respawned.
Absolutely, and they've taken their Uber straight through the choke area. They're able to get straight on through. They do see one of their soldiers going down on the bell tower, and they're going to have to back out despite having this tiny player advantage, because the spawns are coming through, and there's soldiers chasing them. Raze is over there in the valley area. He's trying to stop Adolo from doing anything too silly, too cheeky. And we're just going to have to see a bit of a reset here, I think. We'll be seeing some players throwing themselves at the other team to try and cause something to happen, I think. Speaking of which, Fane comes in and deletes Adolo, and his team comes wandering straight through the valley area almost immediately. They clean up the other scout, they clean up one of the soldiers. It is looking very, very juicy. They're going to be able to cap this second point and probably push straight into the last.
And that's something that can happen, especially when you have such competent soldiers going in for this big airshot from Fane onto Bonk It Up to close out the demo and close up the round.
Holy dooly. That was some fairly clinical gameplay, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would call it rather clinical, though a dry push into a team with even Ubers is not usually the best choice of a push. It did work out really well for them, especially since it begun out as a sack, where they did try to send their players in to kill the enemy medic, I believe, which just turned out really well for them, considering they had Raze and Fane on Soldier.
Yeah, those guys were putting in a lot of work, but coming into this middle We do see them take that right-hand side of the map, but with both their soldiers jumping in, cleaning up Bonk and the medic almost immediately. They clean up 2 other gamers immediately as well. They've kept their medic alive. One of the scouts is the only thing left trying to stop this mid from going the way that it had, which is a clean wipe.
Yeah, and after that first mid that went pretty poorly for 5 Ping Rockets, now they've definitely learned, they've adjusted themselves for the second one, and they just walk in, crush the Cringe Gambit. Like you said, a full player wipe, which allows them to very easily take second and have uber advantage for pushing last.
Yeah, man. They've put themselves in a perfect spot here with this huge uber ad to be able to push straight in. They've got Raylan down very low downstairs, and he actually goes down. It is a trade, though. Adolo there to turn that one back around for his team. So with one player down on either side, it's going to be a little bit of a cringe push, but I think they can pull off the Gambit here as they push straight on in. The Uber comes out. They're totally invulnerable, able to push in. There's a scout standing on the point who does get it mostly capped but goes down. They're killing some players all over the shop. Fane going down, though, might cause them some problems, and Arnold is having to back out with nearly no health. So I think that was actually a really good defense from the 5 Ping Rocket guys. Sorry. Other one, Cringe Gambit guys.
Like you said, it was a very cringe push, and sure enough, the Cringe Gambit showed their mastery of cringe plays, as they did manage to play that out for their side and leave 5 Ping Rockets peeping in their pampers. I sent you the coffee pasta, you know it now.
Yes, you did. I just didn't expect you to bring it up. Coming into this one, though, we see the Uber come straight on through that shutter. Bonk it up, gets very, very deep. It actually gets no frag. Deft on 1 health point, though. Barely getting out through that choke. And Krollick, Rocky's actually in here pretty deep, trying to cause some mayhem. Delay the cap. He feigns in as well, trying to clean up a gamer or two. Raylan goes down very low, but Fane is going to die for it. TJ turning that back around, and Adolo going down now with no scouts on the side of the 5 Ping Rocket. Sorry. I'm mathematics and numbers and words.
There's one number, it's 5, and there's Ping Rockets. It's pretty simple.
I can't do it.
Another push, pretty clinical for them. Medic making a last-ditch play with his mail out, trying to defend the point. Unfortunately, unable to make it. Just going to give another round up for 5 Ping Rockets.
Yeah, 5 Ping Rockets are really showing that they did learn from their previous thrashings. You know, like any good dog might.
I think you have an obsession, Snazzy.
I've got to keep bringing it up. Coming into this mid, though, we do see Deft and Bonk taking very aggressive stances, trying to get some damage off of the other players before they get into the mid and are able to fight. Raylan with a big old bomb, a bit of a pencil jump right up there, and his team has come in behind him, cleaned up 4 players right off the bat, 5 players right off the bat. Arnold, the only one left alive, the medic here with 50% Uber. He has to try to get out without getting caught here by Adolo. If he manages, it could be the difference between a free round for the fellas here. And he does manage to get his scouts with him, and that's going to mean that they're going to be totally able to defend this last here. They'll have the Uber in time to be able to, you know, fight against each other.
Right, Adolo dying as well on that one is going to make a pretty difficult time trying to push the second point, because even though they do have Uber advantage from the red medic not having healed his team while he was running away, he will be holding pretty far back here. And since the Uber was forced out of the Cringe Gambit, that will allow 5 Ping Rockets to come back in after they've got their players and retake any point that they might have lost with momentum for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about the alarm in the background there, but
eBay going off.
It is eBay. We do see some players going down in that choke area. Fane getting a little bit too aggressive and Dolo managing to clean him up. But the rest of his team is there, able to clean up a Dolo, which is going to mean that they're able to cap this middle point. The forward spawns do go off while they've got that middle point captured. They're able to spawn a little bit closer towards the other end of the map, which is definitely something that you want.
Doesn't really help them though, considering that Def just shoots in over top of everyone, right on top of them, kills Tesla with some very nice shots, and allows their team to really quickly grab the second point. However, using that Uber there does put them on Uber disadvantage, which will allow the Cringe Gambit to push out of this with momentum if they do manage to play it well. which at the moment does look like they're doing, taking it pretty slowly, moving players around up through balcony. Right now, 5ping Rocket's doing a really good job of trying to keep them in lobby, stopping them getting out without using that Uber. And sure enough, they did manage to make sure that they did force the Uber while walking out through Shutter. So that now that although they've kept the point and won the fight, they didn't manage to get frags on the enemy team. They did not manage to get the medic, which is going to allow, again, 5ping Rockets to have their own Uber advantage after leapfrogging this, so they can move back in and maybe even take this to last if they can take this point without using.
Yeah, they did end up having to use in there, though. It's not looking fantastic for them. They've lost quite a few gamers as well. They're now on a pretty big play at this. Fane went in trying to make something happen, but ended up dying for his effort. And it's only Arnold and TJ now, and they're going to have to back right up before they get minced.
Enough baubles flying around all over the map, attempting to get bleed damage on the other team. But still looking very nicely for the Cringe Gambit. They do have Uber advantage. They are capping this bin now. Their main focus here has got to be trying to take this point without using Uber charge, but the red Uber is steadily building up. So if they don't manage to do something very soon, then red will equalize it after they've only capped second, and they won't be able to get the round.
Yeah, and the Uber comes straight on through. They're in onto this second point. There hasn't been a lot happening for them, though. It looks like the fellas on 5ping Rockets were able to get out. They did lose 2 for it, which is a pretty good Uber on the side of the Cringe Gambit here. Being able to clean up 2 players means it's an okay Uber, but they're looking at down the barrel of about like 80% this side, which is dangerous to say the least.
Yeah, we've seen a complete, almost coast-to-coast here from the same situation back on Cringe Gambit second, now over 5ping Rocket second. Teams looking like they're going to leapfrog over this point, back and forth, until someone manages to get a breakthrough. And Cringe Gambit is hoping it's them, 5ping Rocket's hoping they can hold on to their points for a little while longer.
Yeah, and we do see them coming straight on through on the side of 5ping Rocket. They haven't actually used their Uber, so they have held onto it. They're going to be able to capture this second point and use the Uber into mid. Nearly the ideal situation for them. It could be better. They could have fragged everyone on the way out. But they are ready to come straight on through this choke. Should be mere moments. The Uber does get forced. One of the soldiers getting in very, very close, getting a lot of damage onto the medic. The Uber does come out, but it's come out on the other side now. Fane managing to clean up one of the scouts on the side of the Cringe Gambit. And one of their soldiers is down very low, but we're not actually seeing quite a lot happen. We do see Raze and Fane down. That's no soldiers on the side of 5ping Rocket. So I guess it's 5ping shotguns now for them. But it's not looking like it's going all that well for them. TJ and Arnold having to back straight on out. Despite TJ's immense level of skill, he's not able to fight 5 players at once, I don't think.
Unfortunately for him, since his team could have had a much better time of that, but now it looks like even Uber charges 2 players down, and the Cringe Gambit really wants to take this into last. They really want to get around on the board.
Yeah, and you can understand their motivation with this sort of like money on the line. Losing 4 players in your push, though, not how you do it.
Yeah, definitely savage for them, looking to really get something done there, and just getting those players crushed by the soldier aggression is just going to set them right back now with Uber disadvantage and having the second recaptured up, just trying to build on middle to try to regain any kind of normality they can.
Yeah. So, I do see someone in the chat just asking the question, is there a reason no one is off-classing? Yes. If they do that, the wet work team will kill them. This is a no off-classing cup. So, they have no option. Deft is getting a bit of a cheeky pipe right onto Raylan there in the cafe area. Raylan having to back straight on out. And with their Uber ad here, knowing that they've hit a bit of damage, recently they get really deep in. Arnold did get forced down to a single digit of health point. Deft going down, he's a little bit too forward as well. This is looking like a poor push out of the 5ping Rockets, fellas.
Deft managing to jump out of that though, right on top of the shutter door, pushing the Cringe Gambit all the way out and getting a frag as well. Allow them to sort of equalise that. It's not as disastrous as it could be, but yeah, definitely not looking too good for them, especially now that they're holding mid with 2 players down and an Uber disadvantage.
Yeah, it's nearly the worst possible spot to be in. It could only be worse if they were in their own LAR. And I might just say, since I've seen another question in the chat, is this Invite League? It is the equivalent. It's we're calling a pro for this cup, but it's the top level for our Australian players here. And we do see a lot of gaming going on here. Def is doing his best to hold that shutter door, but it's not going to help the rest of his players who are caught out on the secondary. Arnold and both of his scouts going down, which is... that's awful, dude.
Well, someone please save Snazzy. His surgeon does have a bachelor's degree only. You got to feel sorry for him. But yeah, you also have to feel sorry for 5-ping Rockets as they are now being bullied into their last with an uber disadvantage. This is the best chance that the Cringe Gambit has had all game to finally put a round on the board, which as it's now down to below 15 minutes, is starting to look quite stressful for them. They need to start putting some numbers up there.
Yeah, I mean, with only half of the map timer left on the clock there, you really start feeling the pressure. You're 2 rounds down. You need to make something happen, or you're just going to get timed. Like, there's nothing you can do. And they do push straight on through the lower area. A lot of flashes in their Uber, reducing the overall time, but keeping more players invulnerable. And getting 2 frags this quick is definitely a good spot to be in. The point has nothing really protecting it, but the Uber comes out on the side of 5-ping Rockets. Arnold collecting that Uber right at the last second and managing to use it to save his players. Push them straight on out. They're going to have to get out of this lobby area. Sugar, they're probably going to have to get all the way out of the second area. That was close, wasn't it?
Very close. We're still in the air, people. Don't worry about it. And yeah, my goodness, this is actually looking pretty painful for the Cringe Gambit. They have managed to stabilize this. They are sitting on their point. Player at, actually now, 2 player at again. They've been given a miracle second chance to push this last if they decide to take it. Or maybe they'll just decide to stay back and try to build this Uber.
I really think they should take it. Deft being down is such a big pickup. You only get 1 demo man, and that means they're able to push in here without the fear of sticky traps, and they're in very, very deep off the bat. They've cleaned up Fane. Tesla goes down, though, so it's looking pretty poor for them. Raze is in very, very deep, getting quite a lot of damage off, including a fat rocket onto that scout to just kill him immediately. They have their Uber, and they have used on the point, but I think we're going to see the same thing as last time, unless Adolo kills Arnold, which he does. This means that they're able to take this just more or less for free. Cleaning up Arnold there was so crucial.
There you go. Not quite clinical, was down to the wire there at the end part, but definitely a success for them. That 1 round on the board, no matter how they got it, it's got to feel really good for them. And I mean, the lasts on this map and in this league are going to be, you know, pretty down to skill alone, because there's no off classes or anything to screw with your last pushes. It's just down to how experienced your team is, how good they are pushing it, and they succeeded.
Yeah, coming into this mid though, speaking of experience, Bonk it up, not showing his, standing a bit too far forward and getting cleaned up almost immediately, putting his team on a massive disad with no demo man. It's your main damage dealer, Dawnskis, and we do see Raze in very deep, trying to clean up the med. So is Deft, so is Rocky. Rocky's there, cleaning up a scout. Arnold actually gets the kill credit on the medic, which is the perfect thing for them here. They lost a round, but it looks like they're going to take it back almost immediately.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these mids have been really back and forward, one side winning, the other side winning. The difference is when 5-ping Rockets wins the mid, they're getting wipes, they're killing the medics, so they're making sure to be able to convert those rounds into last pushes and into 1 rounds.
Yeah, and I will just say before this push goes out, because I see the question, would there be less stalemates when there's no off-classing? Hard to say. I would say yes, some would say no. But this push is coming straight on through with the Uber ad. We do see Fane and Rocky in there very deep. Tesla going down to a big old sticky from Deft. We do see them getting all the way across this point. They've cleaned up so many gamers, 3 of them down almost immediately, 4 now. And that's going to be it, I think, ladies and gentlemen. That is 5 down, 6 down, a free cap, and they're back into a 2-round lead.
3-1 now to 5-ping Rockets. Got to be feeling good for them. This mid-fight is going to be really, really crucial for the Cringe Gambit. Now down to 11 minutes, they seriously have to start trying to turn things around and get the reverse sweep. And I think this cup has shown pretty well that without off-classes, we do see overall less stalemates and a lot more aggressive gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, your damage actually counts for more, I personally believe.
Exactly.
But coming into this mid, we do see a fairly dominant position taken by the 5-ping Rockets fellows. They do lose 2 of their gamers very, very quickly, though. Fane and Rocky going down. And that means that it looks like the Cringe Gambit guys are able to say, no, we're going to play a Scotch Open this time, you know? And just take that center point of the middle.
Of course, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
you like that one.
no wipe, this isn't the bomb cloud, this isn't a game over for 5-ping Rockets. They still do have their medic up, so they are going to be able to still hold on to at least this last point, even if they lose the second, which it looks like they're going to do. They manage to turn things around with their even players.
Yeah, so it is even players, but if they only but knew it, they would know they have this Uber out, and now they don't. Sorry. I shouldn't have said it.
You jinxed it, the players for listening.
Yeah, the med caught a pipe very quickly, and that's going to turn it back around. Raises in very, very deep. The Uber comes out of Arnold, and it's back to a weird spot. I don't know how to describe where we're at. I think this is going to be a stalemate, but I think it'll get forced much quicker than we would normally see with off classes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know 5-ping Rockets really likes to use momentum to their advantage. They now have an even Uber situation. They sort of miracle saved their second point there, preventing having to hold the Cringe Gambit off on their last. So this is looking pretty good for them, and they're most likely to try to use their soldiers and their not quite 5-ping Rockets to try to make any advantage they can here.
Yeah, they talk about having 5-ping Rockets, but I'm seeing 30s across the board.
It's a dirty lie. They were 5-ping yesterday, I swear.
But we do actually see that they've come straight on through the valley area with their Uber. Arnold has almost got his. He actually does get it right as he catches a pipe, popping to save his own life. And he has actually saved the point as well by popping there, I think. With Raylan coming in very, very deep, he's going to get cleaned up. He's sort of jumped into the middle of 3 or 4 gamers there. Not the spot you want to be. But the medic on the side of Cringe Gambit has managed to get very, very far away.
Yeah, I think I saw that scenario on some less safe work streaming websites. But no, this one's actually pretty not too good for the Cringe Gambit because they miscounted that Uber there. They thought because they used earlier they'd have the advantage, but they didn't because they weren't able to connect their medic up to their players fast enough. And now, yeah, again, we're looking at some seriously aggressive plays from them, but getting monstered by the red team soldiers.
Holy dooly! They did get absolutely minced for a second, but things are going left, right, and center. Adolo's in behind, cleaning up Arnold. I think that's I think I've used their names in connection previously.
I think so.
Oh, and he cleans up Rocky as well. Holy dooly, Adolo!
Adolo stopping the
monster.
6k from Rocky.
Holy dooly! But we do see a bit of a reset here. It's looking like it's relatively even Ubers. They're both down a scout. They've both got the same spawn. I think we're going to be seeing a stalemate finally out of these two teams. And we'll just have to see how quickly they decide to force the issue.
I think it'll be forced pretty quickly, at least as soon as both teams get Uber, because we now have 7 minutes on the clock and 2 rounds still up for 5-ping Rockets. I mean, the Cringe Gambit's got to be looking for something here. They've got to be, they're going for a queen sack or something at least, open the board up, get themselves some rounds by any means necessary, as we saw pretty much earlier, how they were not afraid to go on the super aggressive warpath to just get anything they can and still move away from their last point.
Absolutely. We see the Ubers both coming through the valley area. When a body meets a body coming through the rock, they have met each other at the exact same moment. It's looking like it was just going to be an Uber trade. No players going down on either end so far. Fane's in very, very deep though. He goes down. Rocky's in there as well. He goes down in that cafe area. That's a 2-player ad for the side of the Cringe Gambit. And I think their queen sack worked. I can't wait to see this one on Gadmator's chess channel.
Absolutely, the analysis on this will be unreal. I mean, obviously the computers can read this much better than I can, but it does look like their aggressive plays are paying off as they now are taking the middle point. Again, even Ubers, but they are slowly picking up frags in these situations. If they continue playing these really good plays off these stalemate situations, then they're going to be out of sight of last no time soon.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cause some ruckus. We do see the players coming straight on through into the second area. It is still even Ubers, but TJ going down means they have a localized player. Fane is looking like he might go down as well to Raylan, which has happened, but Deft has cleaned up one of the scouts. As the Ubers have both come out in the lobby area, it was looking a little bit better for Arnold, but they are unable to push out with the paucity of health on their team here. I think it's going to be a 3 second for the Cringe Gambit.
Yes, it will. Again, we're seeing these really aggressive even Uber plays. They're just working up the Cringe Gambit. I mean, one more of those and they win last. I mean, this is now starting to get pretty stressful for 5-ping Rockets. They're going to start thinking they've got to start shoring up their defenses a lot better, prevent themselves from losing another point. Now, with 5 minutes on the board, if they just hold on for a little bit longer, the win is all but guaranteed for them. So they've got to start, sweating, because it looks like the Cringe Gambit might be able to turn it around.
Yeah. The thing is, though, that with no off classes, defending's a little bit difficult. And it does look like Never mind. Raylan was trying to get in for a sack, but he got deleted before he could even get through the door. There was a counter, I believe. But, Jesus. This is going all over the shop. There's a bit of a player ad coming through. There's Ubers coming out. I don't even know what's going on. We're seeing players going down left, right, and centre. A Dolo is spawning, though, so it's looking like it will be fairly good for the Cringe Gambit here. They've killed 3 already. Can they kill a 4th and be able to convert this into a round? I don't know. Stay tuned to find out.
We're not, in fact, actually going on a break here. We are continuing casting this game, and it's been looking... That looked really, really good for the Cringe Gambit at the start of it, but they just didn't really commit when they had all those player advantages. And sure enough, the spawns came out on the side of 5-ping rockets and solidified that last push. But, I mean, again, that one was really close. You've got to start sweating if you're 5-ping rockets here. What are they doing to stop another push exactly like that one?
Yeah, and with no off classes, it's very difficult. And also, they have to consider it. When you've got 4 minutes left here, if you lose a round, then they only have to win 1 mid, and they've sort of beat you. They've done it, you know. But they lost 3 players in an abortive attempt to push in there, I think, which is going to put them on the back foot here. They're going to have to run back out into this second area before they get minced. And I think they're going to have to keep backing because it looks like their 5-ping rocket fellas. Holy shit!
Shot from Fane, dropping the medic as he tries to pull out.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't watch TF2 on a regular basis, is one of the greatest parts about the game. When you murder the medic before they even get the chance to pop the Uber. Oh my god! And the market garden to follow it up! A difficult thing to do, but an almost instant kill, 195 damage on that one. Holy shit!
5-ping rocket for Fane, 0-ping market garden for Raze. I mean, these soldiers are just not stopping.
This is crazy. This is actually really, really good to watch. We did see the Uber come out of Arnold there, but there's not really that much to report on. Players went down. It was a full Uber push. They've gotten this second here. They have a 3-player ad that they can use to push into this last. Player ad almost as important as Uber ad, if not more so. Cleaning up the last couple of gamers who are able to defend and turning their lead into a 3-point lead. With 2 minutes left on the clock, is that even possible to come back from?
I don't think it's possible at this stage. I mean, I think, depending on the map, Sunshine might be one of the maps where it could be possible, get around in 40 seconds maybe if they play this really, really fast. But given how the mids have been going back and forth, this one's not really looking good for the Cringe Gambit.
No, it really is not. But I'm sure they're still showing up, trying to do their very best. They've taken this backwards stance on the middle. We do see Raze coming around behind them. And I think that's threatened them just enough to push them all the way out. Fane coming through and cleaning up the medic and one of the scouts, though. This is looking so good for 5-ping rockets in terms of adding another round to their, what would you call this? Treasury. I don't know, something.
Lead. I just go with the lead. Very simple,
Go with
very
lead.
straight.
It sounds a bit boring, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, it does. Depends on what lead you're talking about, of course. But I think for this one, yeah, I just keep it nice, keep it simple. Say they are absolutely crushing at the moment. 4-1, 1 minute 30 left on the clock. They know that there's basically no chance at all that the Cringe Gambit can get their way out of us, but that can't stop them from being hungry for more points here.
Absolutely. I mean, even when you're on this sort of like back ropey bit, there's no reason not to try to pad the stats for the log. And we did see them push right on out into that second area. Bonk's the only one left behind to defend the point, and he is unable to do it against 5 players coming straight on through. And that's going to be another round. So that is 5-1 now to the side of 5-ping rockets.
Now impossible for the Cringe Gambit to get their way out of it, but they're still showing up to mid, still fighting it. Even if they can get 1 more point on, that's got to be something at the very least. You know, you're leaving behind a legacy here, and you're leaving behind logs, which are more or less permanent. We'll see how they manage to handle it.
You'd hate to be the one having your logs brought up in the Discord again. But we did see Raze go down nice and early. Bonk it up, and one of his scouts going down as well on the other side, which has sort of brought that back to an advantage for the side of 5-ping rockets, who are converting that into a free middle. And with 30 seconds left on the clock, I think if they play this like min-max, it's more or less another round for free.
19 seconds. I mean, this is cutting it really fine. They haven't started capping the second
Oh.
point at all.
Bonk's about to get shot by the wet work team. He's come up on engineer. He's not leaving spawn though. Okay, I think he's given up. But we are seeing a bit of a push coming out. Arnold uses his Uber. They're in through this lobby area, and the time runs out before they're able to collect the last. So the final scoreline, ladies and gentlemen, remains 5-1 to 5-ping Rockets.
And there we go. What a game, you know? I mean, you can just take a look at the logs, take a look at the mid-fights. That was definitely a nail-biter. Right at the end there, the aggressive plays out of the Cringe Gambit coming so close to turning it around from them, giving them the reverse sweep, but just not enough. Finally, their luck ran out just while they were trying to take the last point and ended up getting coast-to-coasted, and that spelled their death sentence.
Yeah, man. That was a really fun game. I was really enjoying that one. I'm actually kind of sad it's over.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's how the games have been going so far in the Summer Cup, in the Summer Brawl, I guess.
Yeah. So, we'll have a look at these logs. We'll analyse these statistics. Gad Matora will join us for that one, I think. But
this is absolutely winning for 5-ping Rockets.
This is winning. We have a new game. 5-ping Rockets taking out the top 3 spots on the logs once again. Fane, Deft, and Krolic taking out those top 3 spots with 303, 291, and 280 BPM, respectively.
Fane with a
Good lord.
crushing 5 air shots, which is more than most of the other server combined. I mean, this is disgusting. The man gets 300 DPM, 26 frags, 5 air shots. I mean, does he ever stop?
He doesn't. He doesn't. And you know what? You've finally seen something to, give you some return for being the fan club of the year. You know, you were leading that club for the longest time, and Fane's finally pulled through for you.
Oh man, Fane's been performing so far, all of day one especially. Fane has just been absolutely on fire this entire cup, you know. I mean, I'll keep leading the fan club until I die, because Fane definitely won't do it. I mean, he's just destroying the enemy team left, right, and upside down all the time, as we've seen in this map.
Yeah, looking at the rest of the logs, though, we do see a fat amount of frags on the side of those 3 once again. Krolic coming through with the most at 28, Fane with 26. Fane had a really good game, man.
He actually really did.
He really did. But I don't want to talk like the Cringe Gambit weren't making some moves in this one. It doesn't look so hot in the logs, but I mean, everyone watching could tell. I mean, those guys were playing their little hearts out, man. They were doing their very best. And it just wasn't quite enough on this occasion.
Yeah, I mean, you got to see. You look at the mid-fights, 1-1 by Cringe Gambit, followed by 5-ping Rockets, then Cringe Gambit again, then 5-ping Rockets again, then Cringe Gambit again. I mean, this was pretty back and forward, to be honest. Like, the Cringe Gambit had some really big chances here to win, like we suspected. They know what they're doing, they had the talent, and they used it really well, especially right near the end there when they were 2 rounds down and still managed to do some super aggressive plays, even during even Ubers, to just slowly push the points towards 5-ping Rockets last.
It was some really good TF2, that one. That was actually really good. A
Yeah,
lot of back and forth. So.